Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time. And one of the things we have to do is kind of remember this series of readings that we're doing in order to make sense of what's going on. And so remember, we're in the Gospel of Luke, and this is still part of the same sermon that we've been hearing for the last 2 weeks. So 2 weeks ago, we spoke about gratitude. We need this gratitude. 10 lepers were healed, but only one came back. And Jesus asked, where's the other 9? That's a reminder for us to always be grateful. And then last week, we heard about perseverance in prayer, that prayer is a relationship. And we have to keep the communication in the relationship going. Otherwise, the relationship withers and fades. Okay. Then the part that was not covered in the lectionary is that after Jesus gave the first example of the 10 lepers, in between last week's gospel and the week before that, the Pharisees asked Jesus when the kingdom was coming, when the kingdom of God was coming. And Jesus responds to them that it's in their midst. In other words, something that they couldn't see or understand was Jesus is the kingdom. Okay. He is the kingdom, and he's inaugurating the kingdom. Okay, and so that's where we need to go. And so, of course, they didn't get that. And so he gives the homily of last week, the example last week of perseverance in prayer. Hopefully, God will reveal that to us, that Jesus is the one we need. Jesus is the one we're supposed to turn to. But the Pharisees just can't see it. And why can't they see it? It's because of their hardness of heart. And that's what brings us to today's reading, is the Pharisees are exactly like the man who goes into the temple feeling justified. And he's just saying, thanks be to God that I'm not like that tax collector over there. I'm already righteous, God. I don't even really need you. I'm just saying, look at all the great things that I've done. Look at what I did. Okay. And because of that hardness of heart and that attitude, they can't even see that God and the kingdom are standing right in front of them. It's a horrifying situation, actually, because these are the religious leaders of the day. Rather, the tax collector goes away justified because he knows his brokenness. He knows that he's betrayed his nation. He knows that he's made a ton of bad decisions. He knows that he needs the divine physician. He knows that he cannot present himself to God as righteous, that he needs God to become righteous. And that's why Jesus is able to say he's the one who walked away justified. He doesn't even raise his eyes to heaven. He just beats his breast and said, Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. And that's the right kind of attitude and the right kind of prayer. Because if we start getting full of ourselves, our hearts become hardened. And we can't even recognize the voice of God. Last week, perseverance in prayer. Do we even know what it's like to hear the voice of God? Or are our hearts hardened because we're too preoccupied with ourselves and how great we are? Okay. So, let us remember our desperate need for God. And let us remember also that we cannot present ourselves to God as righteous, but that we need God to make us righteous. And so that's another thing. We can't just skirt away from prayer until we make ourselves right. It won't happen. That's the whole thing about our relationship with God. He's the one who will make things better for us. So in our deepest, darkest moments, we need to turn to Jesus, even when we don't want to. So we approach the table of the Lord today and we receive Jesus. Let us ask Jesus that no matter where we're at, please fill us with your love and your healing and help us to continually come back to you so that one day we may see you in heaven face to face.